Hey guys. Hey. Hope everyone is good when you're watching this. Um Welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Kelita. Going through the book Conversations with God. Someone sent a message on like my first video about like an idea to do like what was it? Um I don't basically to get the book available on YouTube. The reality for free. The reality is I don't think that will happen, but the book is really cheap. It's £7.99 for the whole collection on Audible. Basically just sign up for free if you haven't. You get 1 month free anyway. So if you've not already got Audible, you can get the book for free and sign up for the 30 days free trial. Download the book. You basically get a credit and then you use that credit to get the book. Make sure you get the one that has all three books and not just one book one, or not them individually, if you know what I mean. But it works out the same price, so it's kind of best to just get the trilogy. And yeah, it's as simple as that. It's not that cheap. Majority of people will be able to afford it. That's the best thing you can do. You'll get a decent copy. You're not gonna get some annoying music playing in the background. Um, and it's all there. It's a good thing to have because they even have interviews in it as well at the end of each book. A couple of interviews they have. So it's good. Just get it. It's really cheap. But anyway, I'm kind of continuing on from last week because I didn't realize I didn't finish it. There was a bit more I didn't listen to. I stopped it too early. But and anyway, at the end of that last week, so I was kind of coughing all up the place, so I couldn't continue anyway. So just picking out a few points really that I found interesting. It's literally just about life really. Um they highlighted that each circumstance we go through is a gift, and each circumstance you can there's a treasure in there, isn't there? So I quite liked that because it's true. You can learn something and get something from absolutely everything, and um whether that's good or bad. So that's like a good, I wouldn't say good, nice. The word nice isn't even that good neither. That's a nice way. It's a good way to look at it, basically. Just every single circumstance. Now, I know it's difficult when you're going through something that's tough, and that's the last thing really you want to look at. Like, what's this teaching me? What is it teaching? You're not focusing on that. You're just kind of focusing on getting through. However, if you can kind of like separate yourself and understand, like, yo, let me take a step back, kind of get my emotions in check and in control, and really think like, what can I learn from this? What can I take from this? I think that's really really good. And of course, during the great times in your life, then you're enjoying it, and yeah, really. um it told a little story as well in there about a little soul, it was called, for an understanding of why things in the world happen, etc., etc. And it basically started off in a nutshell by little soul being there saying, "I'm the light, I'm the light." But then he couldn't really experience the light. He knew he was the light, but didn't really know what the experience of being the light was. So in the story, it says, "Oh, God came along and says, oh, the soul was having like a longing to really experience that, and God came along and was like, oh, you can experience it through separating yourself and inviting in the darkness." And then the little soul was like, well, what is the darkness? And then God said the darkness is everything that you are not. So to experience being the light, you need to bring in the darkness into your life. And that was kind of like links into last week, it was like an example of, to truly know who you are and experience who you are, you need to see the shadow side of yourself. You need to experience all of that. So all the stuff happening in the world, etc., as like a whole collective consciousness, for us to appreciate who it is we really are. It's like we have to see, accept, learn, and love all of that aspect, the shadow work of ourselves as well. So that was a little cute analogy right there. Yeah, so basically in that story, the little light was just demonstrating really what it already knew. So though it kind of like forgot and was going through all of this like, oh, this darkness, but it already knew it was the light. And to experience that it was the light, it just had to experience all of that other stuff and then remember its own divinity. Another point that was made that I found quite interesting, it said, if you keep believing that someone out there, someone or something out there is doing something to you, then that basically you disempower yourself and you don't do anything about it. So I found that interesting. If you, for example, I'm going to use a common example, Satan and the devil. All the time, a lot of people, mainly religious people, say Satan's doing this to me today. Satan, blah, blah, blah. Satan, blah, blah, blah. And it is constant. Obviously, if something good has happened, it's like God is doing this to me today. Yes, God is blessing me, blah, 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 blah. And the sad thing is, for the people constantly saying Satan, 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 it's true. I've seen it for myself. When you think Satan's done this, you feel you can't do anything in general, so you don't do anything. And if you say, people are, oh, I'll just leave it to God. I'll leave it to God. You're not doing anything. Like nothing's happening. Nothing is you won't do anything. There was a story I read where a woman was so like devout to God that her husband died, and what she did, she just locked the doors, she prayed and she fasted over the body with her children in there, and was just hoping and praying and fasting for the husband to come alive. It was 6 months. They locked themselves in the house and fasted, and to the point where the body was decaying. Flies had gone around there, and like the authorities had to like sort it out. You get me? And it's just like, what? you know, you just don't do anything. And like I seen a picture that said, if this was a pre-recorded video, I'd put the picture up, but I'm using my phone and I can't. It basically says, "Dear God, I pray you take away the tumor in anyone who's got tumor and shrink it and blah blah blah." And I just thought to myself, the reality is, if you sit there and just pray and hope, nothing's happening. And unfortunately, that person, whomever has that tumor, will just die if that's all they do, because nothing will happen. You've gone and put the power outside of yourself. Nothing's going to happen. You can sit there and pray all you like. Nothing will happen. The moment you're praying and like pleading, oh, please get rid of this, you're focusing so much on it that it's only going to grow, for one. And on top of that, be practical, grow your knowledge in how to get rid of the tumor, understand the simplicity of tumor cells grow on junk we put in our bodies and expose to our bodies. So eliminate that junk we put in our bodies and expose to our bodies, then you will suffocate the tumor and cancer cells, because they thrive and they grow off that junk. So if you suffocate it, then it will shrink, wouldn't it? It's practicality. So I found that quite interesting. And again, in terms of the devil, once people are just saying, "Oh, the devil's doing this" or "Satan's doing this," you take the power away from yourself to feel you can do anything about it when you can. You just need to get up and do something instead of just complaining that Satan's doing it. You get me? Um, Another interesting point about pain. Pain, like said, pain really is the result of judgment. I found that quite interesting. So, the pain and suffering of what we go through, being upset about stuff, etc., is literally, it comes because of what we think about it, what we think about it, and our judgment. If we remove our judgment, then we won't have pain. If we remove our particular idea about a thing that we are so fixed on, this is right, then we won't be offended, you know? So yeah, I found that interesting. I wanted to say more on that, but can't remember what I was gonna say. Um and then it went on to say, Neil Donald Walsh went on to say, so should I not feel, bad about the world conditions, the hungry children, etc., etc., everything that's going on in the world? And then the God character replied by saying, I'm not saying you should or should do anything. Do whatever you please, basically. Um, if you want to feel bad, then you feel bad. If you don't want to feel bad, then you don't feel bad. You feel whatever you want to feel, but understand that whatever you choose to feel, there'd be like a reaction, like a consequence to it. So, just in simple, if you choose to feel bad about something or choose to feel annoyed about something, then you're gonna be annoyed, aren't you? Basically, just as simple as that. Um, and it mentioned like just don't judge and condemn others and people. And it made a valid point because when you do judge, then you will become what you've judged. Now, a practical example, I've experienced this. I used to judge the way my husband drove all the time because it just annoyed me. It annoyed me. I'm like, why are you driving like this for? And I'd just be so like I'd annoy myself because I'm just being so picky, like, why are you turning the corner like that? Blah 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 blah. And then it came to a point I found myself driving similar to that, and I was just getting annoyed. I was like, why am I driving like this? So I stopped because I just thought, you know what, me focusing so much on his driving, it's affecting my own. So I just tried my best not to care. So I've definitely experienced that firsthand. So yeah. And then it went on to say, it's my favorite part. So God doesn't say shoulds or shouldn't, but I've been taught and told that from many teachers, many religious people, that you're told shouldn't do this, should do that, blah blah blah. And then the response was, that was an error. That there was no such thing really as being sat down or written on a stone to say you should do this or shouldn't do that, blah blah blah. um you basically do as you please. You basically do as you please, and you gain the experience as a result of doing as you please, because this whole thing, the concept of what they're talking about, is about gaining experience in this lifetime. That's basically it. Oh, fly. Um, so there isn't no you should do this or shouldn't do that, or that's wrong and this is right, because it's all about the experience. Um, so obviously now that I went on to say, if you um if there was like shoulds and shouldn'ts or do's, rights, wrong, blah blah, then that would restrict you basically. And if you're restricted, then you deny the reality of who you really are, which is a divine being remembering its divinity and gaining the experience of whatever you'd like to experience to enhance your divinity. You know, and he went on to say people teach that we're given free will, but their religious mythologies, as it says if you don't obey me, you're going to hell. And it says, well, how is that really free will? If you don't obey someone, then this will happen. If you do obey, you know, it's not free will really, is it? Because if you don't do what they say, you're going to be punished, but you've got free will. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. It says that's a mockery. It went on to say that's a mockery, and it genuinely doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, that's what you're told. That's what you grow up with. That's what's part of your programming, you know, like, yeah, we've got free will, but if we don't do what God says, then we're gonna burn in hell. Some say for eternity, some say until your soul vanishes. But yeah, it's not the best. But obviously that then goes into, oh well, the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, like the Ten Commandments, are they really a thing? Because did that really happen? You know, are there laws? Blah blah blah. Well, I'm gonna do a video on the Ten Commandments, and it's gonna come out on a Tuesday when I eventually do it, and it's quite interesting. We really don't know what the Ten Commandments are. So I'm looking forward to doing that video. But yeah. So yeah, the whole shoulds and shouldn'ts. I feel that, I think when I first listened to this, that was hard for me to comprehend and to understand, because, or to understand and overstand, not just understand. Because it's just like, surely things has to be right or wrong, because how will people know what to do? But yeah, you have it within you. It's naturally there, you know. It's naturally there. You don't need to be told. And even if you don't know straight away, the moment you probably do something, you'll get a feeling, which is data and knowledge and information, that feeling and emotion. And then you can process that feeling and emotion to know, okay, I'm not going to do this again. And that's the experience. So yeah, I know anyone kind of hearing this who say not as open-minded, would be like, nah. I know it full well, because I was a bit iffy when I first heard it, when I was doing my best to be open-minded. So hearing it when you're kind of not, it's just like, nah, because, you know, someone has to be punished for doing all the wicked in the world. Someone has to, blah, blah, blah. But it's all experience, isn't it? It's all experience. It's still kind of hard to comprehend, but I'm beginning to understand it. So yeah, next week, I'm excited for this one. Heaven and hell. What is heaven and hell? So if you're interested in that, be sure to stick around for next week. Okay. I'm feeling a bit tired, so maybe my energy looked a bit today, but yeah, that is it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope things made sense. If it didn't, comment down below. If I'm clear in what I'm saying, let me know so I can make changes in the near future. But instead of waving my hand in front of the camera, I'm going to go